Hi everyone, welcome to my home. It's not really my home, but if I had a stoop and I lived inside a wooden backdrop, we would be home. So basically, welcome to my home. I'm so happy to share this next segment of the course with you. I'm going to explain a little bit the mountain method. So the mountain method is a variety of different marketing tips and ideas and business practices that I picked up from operating two businesses myself, but also in working with hundreds of entrepreneurs and providing legal services to them. I've been able to understand a bunch of different lessons and principles that can be really helpful that they've gone through and I've gone through. And if I can share it here and any part of it resonates or is beneficial to you, your business or your life, then we'll have done something great. So originally it was called the mountain method because I learned a very profound lesson when I hiked Mount Kilimanjaro. And I went to Tanzania and I had a beautiful experience on the mountain. It took about 4 days to summit and then a day to come down. But the first 3 days of summiting, I was cruising. I was money, no altitude sickness, no challenges. And then on the last day, I was crawling. I crawled to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, but I made it. And sometimes it really is those challenging experiences where you're so extremely uncomfortable and you're doing something that's so difficult, so far from home, and overcoming it empowers you with the ability to realize that you can accomplish or do anything in your life. So I just called it the mountain method because summiting a mountain is a lot like being an entrepreneur or small business owner and running your own business. You're not sure exactly where you're going. You know the direction is up, so you always try to go that way, but it's difficult. There's no proof that you're gonna make it, and you just have to trust in yourself in order to get there, and that's been a profound lesson. So a couple of these concepts are things I've taken from helpful business books or things that I learned, read, or did, or experienced before starting my own business. And the first one I want to share is the importance of asking. And I have a great story with asking that catapulted Yoga Law and turned it from being an idea into an actual business. Just to share with you, Yoga Law is part of my offerings as a lawyer. I work with yoga professionals and I've tailored legal services specifically to them. So what happened was I wanted to speak at Wanderlust, because who wouldn't want to speak at Wanderlust? It's an amazing yoga festival, and I always wanted to be there, and I attended as a participant, but I thought it'd be really cool to provide service to the yoga community and share with them. So I wrote an email to one of the people who worked at booking speakers at Wanderlust, and I remember it was before my trip. I was going on a trip, and I just wrote an email and I said, hey, my name's Corey Sterling. I'm a yoga lawyer. That's how I introduced myself, because I had several yoga clients at this point, and I said, I'm a yoga lawyer, and I think a talk on yoga law would be really, really helpful for the Wanderlust community because it's an important issue and it affects yogis and all of the different reasons. And I just asked, I said, hey, can you include me? About 3.5 weeks go by, crickets, and I even forgot that I had asked. It wasn't on the top of my mind. And then one morning I was chilling at the office, drinking a coffee, and an email came in from a girl named Isabel, and she said, Corey, oh my God, yoga law. We need it. It's so important. We can't wait to have you as a speaker. Let me confirm and arrange a couple of things, and we'll bring you out to Wanderlust Whistler to speak about yoga law. And that's how it happened. And I've been asking for things my entire life, and I've been receiving things, and sometimes the answer is no, and sometimes the answer is yes. But whatever you are doing for your life or your business, I cannot stress the importance of just asking. If we think about that little Wanderlust story, let me ask you a question. What happens if she says no? Nothing happens. She says no. I spent 2 minutes of my day writing an email, brainstorming an idea, and clearly it didn't land with one person, which doesn't say anything about the validity of that idea, but just says, okay, it didn't work in that scenario. But she ended up saying yes. And because she said yes, I was like, oh, okay, maybe yoga law actually could be a thing and is a real thing. And it was that moment of someone saying yes that opened up the doors to me to realize the possibilities of operating yoga law. And all of it came from a real simple email, cold email to someone I don't know, asking for something and they said yes. And asking pertains to everything in your life. Remember, there's nothing to lose by asking. If you're asking a client, if you're asking a coworker, whatever you're doing, just ask and the answer may be yes, which is way better than if you don't ask at all. The next story I want to share is the importance of patience. Patience is everything in life and in business. And my favorite patience story, and I tell this anytime we have an event from Muskoka Yoga Festival, I always share this story because it warms my heart and it reminds me that whatever I want in life, that I'm going to need to be patient for it and that things take time. My business partner and I actually have this idea, cool, let's do a yoga festival in Muskoka. Muskoka is a region of Ontario that's very beautiful with lakes and trees and forests, and we want to bring people there to do a yoga festival. So we build the website, we're doing the thing, we have a Facebook group. We've sent 1,000 invitations to the Facebook group. And around Christmas time, we wanted to run our first event and have a yoga class and have a community discussion and basically pose to people the question, okay, if you are coming to a yoga festival, what is it that you would look for? What would you want? We send out 1,000 invitations, like, I'm feeling good, right? I'm feeling good about this. A lot of people on Facebook, a lot of people are interested. All of this story takes place before the event actually happens. It's still an idea. We're in the ideation phase of our business for the festival. The festival is planned to take place in June, and we're trying to host this event in December. All the events are set, all the invitations are sent out for the event. We're super excited. We get to the venue where we're hosting this community gathering to talk about what needs to be at a festival. It's so important, it's so juicy. And 2 people show up. 2. So it's like 1, 2. That's how many people are in this room. And I told everyone I knew, and I invited all my friends, and I invited everyone I knew, and nobody showed up. And at that point, I was ready to fold and be like, it's a terrible idea. Nobody wants a yoga festival. Nobody's interested. Nobody cares. But ultimately, what we realized was it takes time to build something. And I think the reason why we continued was because my business partner said, you know what, 2 people is awesome. It's 2 more than we would have had otherwise. Let's keep going and let's keep building it. And this past year at the festival, we had, between 2 days, we had about 900 people through the gates of the festival. So from 2 to 900, sometimes it takes 2 years, sometimes it takes 20 years. The point is, whatever you're doing, be compassionate with yourself, be patient with yourself, and understand that you're trying to do big things, and taking big things can often take a lot of time. Another really important part about business that I work with my clients a lot on is reverse engineering. And in this course, when we get to the module on protecting and building your brand, specifically licensing, we talk about starting with the end in mind, which is a principle from the Covey book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I always tell clients to do this with their business because the clearer you are on what it is you are trying to achieve, let it be a lifestyle or financial goals or impact to a particular community, the clearer you know about where you want to go, the easier it is to build it. A really challenging position in business to be in is when you don't really know why you're doing what you're doing, you don't know where you want to end up, but you just know that you have a particular service and you're going to provide that, and you start providing it. And the challenge in doing that is, sure, you're going to be moving somewhere, but are you moving to the correct place of where you want to be moving? And the clearer that you can get about where it is you want to end up, the easier it will be to create the processes and the systems for your business in order to get there. And we're going to talk with Kelly Track later on in our course. She speaks about online business and building a business online. She got so clear so early that she only wanted to operate online. And in doing so, she said, these are my specific offerings, and I'm not doing anything in person. And because of that, I can be so clear and make all of my decisions accordingly to build a business online. I had a similar experience with Conscious Counsel, where I know that I want to travel the world and I want to build this business, and I'm only going to make decisions that will empower and enable me to continue to travel the world and operate online. And the clearer you can be about where it is that you're going, the easier it is to get there. So starting with the end in mind, such an important principle. Reverse engineer your life and you will find so much intention and purpose within it. Another very important lesson I've learned, and I took a Marie Forleo online class, which was extremely helpful. I learned the importance of the way in which you communicate with your community. So what happens is, in this class, Marie Forleo says, look, every piece of copy that you write, every piece of information that you put out there, you should either be speaking to the wildest, most fun fantasies of your clients, or you should be speaking to the wildest, scariest nightmares of your clients. Like, what is keeping them awake at night, and what are they dreaming about during the day? And the importance of doing this is you are always triggering a reaction with the people that you communicate with, and you are also always highlighting the importance of your services. So in all of your communications, if you can be speaking to someone's worst nightmare or wildest dream, you're always going to have their attention. And on a daily basis, people are inundated, I don't even know how many times, by so many different avenues. You have a very, very, very short window to communicate with your clients. And in doing so, the question is, can you maximize it while it's happening? Another wonderful tip that I've seen work with my clients and be extremely helpful comes from the book All Marketers Are Liars by Seth Godin. Seth Godin is he's a top dog when it comes to marketing, and he's someone who I've learned a lot from, and I've read a bunch of his books. And in All Marketers Are Liars, he's talking about the importance of being authentic in your storytelling and the importance of really believing in the services that you're providing. And he says, basically, if you don't actually believe in what you yourself are doing, how could you possibly expect anyone else to believe in it? So throughout this entire course, what I'm sharing with you is how fun law is. Like, look, I'm sitting on a stoop with a wooden backdrop. I'm having a lot of fun. You're probably chilling on your computer, having a great time watching this also. We're both having fun. I've continually told you throughout the course how much fun this is, and I genuinely am having fun. So because I'm having fun and I'm bringing on my clients who are having fun, you're having fun. And if I really didn't believe that law could be fun or that legal services could be fun, I wouldn't be able to convince you. I could have done the course like this. Well, law is a lot of fun, and we can start with provision 1, the parties to an agreement. Once there is offer and acceptance and consideration exchange between parties, and I'm having so much fun. And that would have been awful. It would have been terrible, because I wouldn't have genuinely bought into this experience and understood and appreciated the value of having fun with something like law. But I really believe it, and because I really believe it, and my clients will tell you they believe it, because the clients are going to tell you how much fun they've had, I know that it's real. So it's a wonderful concept. When you're telling your story, make sure that you really authentically connect with what you're telling other people, because if you don't believe it, you can't possibly expect them to believe it. And the last lesson that I want to share comes from a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, and it's a book I read before I started Conscious Counsel and taught me so much about running a business, organizing a business, and it's a principle that I've shared with all of my clients. And of everything that I've said today in this lecture about business and business tips, this is probably the most important. And I actually talk about it in other aspects of the course. But the concept is only work with the right people. Only work with the right people. If you've hired someone and you're not certain if they're right, or something feels a little bit off about them, don't do it. Don't do it. Time is your most precious asset, and the energy and the people that you surround yourself with will directly correlate to the productivity of your output and the contribution that you're ultimately able to make in the world. In the book, what Jim Collins is saying, he's talking about hiring, and he says, the first thing that you have to do, he uses an analogy of a company being a bus. And what he's saying is, the first thing is, be extremely careful about who you let on the bus. So for me, my threshold test with anyone who I work with is always like, okay, is this person allowed on the bus? If they're allowed on the bus, then I figure out where to put them. That's the next step that he talks about. So you've got the right people, that's the first step. The second step is putting the right people in the right situation. But what I've learned about working with the right people is that it is a prerequisite to having an extraordinary relationship with those who you surround yourself with. The truth of the matter is, the people around you will contribute to your energy, and you're only going to want to be surrounded by good people. I gave a talk this past weekend in Toronto, and one of the attendees is a real estate manager and has some tenants who she doesn't like. Some tenants she loves, some tenants she doesn't like. And I was talking about the importance of loving everyone who you work with and only working with the right people. She said, you know what, these are tenants who are good paying customers and they contribute to the bottom line of my business and permit the viability and the sustainability of my lifestyle, but they're a complete headache and they're awful and I greatly dislike them. And I'm not going to tell anybody how to live their life or what to do. I'm just sharing stories that I've learned from my own clients and how that's affected their lives and their businesses. And what I told this woman is, you'll probably see a considerable difference in your personal outlook and your energy and your capabilities and your contribution if you're only surrounding yourself with good people. There's one exception to surrounding yourself with good people, and those are family members. And family members you don't get to choose because you love them unconditionally no matter who they are. You don't get to choose family. Outside of that, your friends, your coworkers, your clients, you get to choose everything. Conscious Counsel has been a dream because I only work with people who I love. And in doing so, I love my work, I'm not stressed. If I miss a deadline, my clients understand me, they understand my lifestyle. If they need extra work done, I'll do it for them because I love them and I want to see them succeed. In the same line, when we talk about partnership agreements or we talk about shareholder agreements, and I reflect on all the different relationships of my clients who have had really big problems and massive fights, I'll speak to them, we'll talk about the relationship. Everybody will say, you know what, I just knew this wasn't the right person to work with and I didn't listen to that. So the encouragement is work with the right people. It will simplify and expand your life and your contribution of what you can make in the world. Okay, this next one is juicy and I'm stoked about it. There's a book called The Go-Giver by Bob Burg, which I loved reading and I've shared with so many of my clients and my friends. And the principle from this book is super simple. Okay, ready? We all got this. Do things for other people without expectations for anything in return. That's it. If you can find a way to incorporate that principle into your life, it will be extremely helpful. You will make a positive impact on the world. You'll make the world a better place. And the returns that come back to you, although not intentional, like we have no expectations about why we're doing awesome things for other people, but the returns that come back are always tenfold. It's a wonderful book, The Go-Giver. I highly recommend it. And it's a great reminder to just do things for other people and just do things for other people. It's part of the human experience. There's no hurt, and you yourself will feel wonderful even from doing so. So in reviewing the Mountain Method, I always smile when I think about that because I remember the journey up Kilimanjaro and how challenging it was, but also how I persevered. A couple of tips just to keep in mind. So one is asking for things, doing things for other people without expectation for anything in return. The importance of communicating with your clients in terms of speaking to their wildest fantasies or their worst nightmare, the importance of working with good people and doing the right thing, and above all else, just having a patience parachute. Just pull the cord. We all want everything in our life right now. We love wanting things. We love complaining about not having the things we want. Just pull that parachute, be patient. You want to put on an event, you want to build a business, it'll take you a really long time or it could happen overnight. Either way, trust the process, enjoy every moment, and use these tips to go to your own mountain, either in your mind or anywhere in the world.